Well, you've talked a lot about unions and state employees. You said the state employees on average make 10% more 12% more than
similar private sector employees. We have that study on our website.
Josh Kalven?
Well, again, I mean, it's this issue of the pension debt and those obligations. You can't simply hit the reset button and say, we're going to just let those slide. They've been lingering out there for a long time. We need to start meeting them. We need to start making our payments on time. We need to start paying our bills, whether it's to social service providers who are now borrowing themselves to try and stay afloat or cutting staff and cutting services. We need to pay the bills to healthcare providers. We need to pay the bills to contractors.
But we can't pay the bills. I mean, that's the basic problem. You can't pay the bills if you don't have the revenues.
Yep, that's right, and they are in an absolute mess, and I think it's an accumulation of that they weren't accounting for things properly before. They were letting all of this accumulate, and we need to, make them really balance the budget instead of pretending they're balancing the budget.
Well, there is a bill that has passed the Senate, which would raise income taxes and raise sales taxes, expand more items that would be have a sales tax put on them, some food, some medicines. It would also have an earned income tax, raise their earned income tax to protect people in lower incomes. That has passed the Senate. The governor has said he would support it. So now it has to go over to the House. And that's what you're hoping for, is that right? The groups that you represent?
Yeah, the Responsible Budget Coalition and all, I mean, there's over 100 organizations involved in it. What they're shooting for now, they believe it could pass the Senate again. They are looking for how to pass it through the House. And
so it would have to go past, it would have to pass in the Senate again in January?
Not unless it's tweaked. I mean, there's talk of changing some of the components in the original bill, and Governor Quinn has said that he's open to looking at ways to refine it. And that's going to be a big part of the discussion going forward over the next few months. There's also, there's a property tax credit boost in there. And one thing it does that's important to note is a few years down the line, once, we've righted the ship, as I'm talking about, met our obligations, paid our bills, it raises the foundation level, the state funding that goes to schools, as a way to start to reverse the inequities that we see in our public school system here that have led to this huge achievement gap. There's new data out this week showing that students in low income and largely minority public schools are seriously disadvantaged in terms of funding, and that goes to this property tax reliance.
So this is, at the moment, though, this is the only real solid proposal out there that's in the form of legislation to try to fix this mess.
In terms of legislation, that's true, and of course we would oppose that. We have many solid proposals on our website that would actually solve this problem.
How do you get those into legislation? Who would introduce them? Who would support them?
House Republican leader Tom Cross and Senate leader Chris Rodoni have both done an outstanding job in presenting many of these. Tom Cross presented an economic reform agenda that had many of these proposals in it that could not get a vote on the floor because of Democratic leadership led by Mike Madigan. So the challenge, I think what you see playing out here also that's not discussed is there's a game being played until the primary. The tax hike vote will not come up until after February 2nd. Everybody's waiting. But I think the point I was trying to make about Walmart, these problems are solvable if you have political will. But the 100 organizations that Josh is referring to that support more revenues all benefit from more revenues. That's where their revenue streams come from. I'm here to represent the average taxpayer and business person, average citizen who's paying an awful lot of tax. Illinois is a very high tax state. We rank 47th in creating jobs. The governor pointed out that—
But it's not a high tax state, is it, in terms of income tax?
No, but it's people make decisions based on their total tax dollars. It's property taxes, sales taxes, and income taxes. But income taxes, even though they're low, are very identifiable. It's 3%, and people can move to another state. 9 states don't have an income tax. But the key point here is it's all about job creation. As the governor has rightly pointed out, if you have more jobs, more people pay income taxes. If you do the things that Josh is suggesting, we're going to have fewer jobs. Has been proven over and over again. In this state for 30 years, we've been 47th out of the 50 states in creating jobs.
Josh?
Well, I would just say it's not about these organizations trying to
simply look after their own self-interest, pad their pockets, boost their profits.
But it is in the self-interest of these organizations.
Yeah, but it's in the self-interest of the people that they represent. And in many cases, we're talking about the poor, we're talking about the disabled, we're talking about the working class. This is not a profit-driven coalition. This is a coalition looking to raise living standards for low income and working families in this state. That is the objective here.
I'm wondering if Josh would support the Walmart then, because those would be working class jobs for the Walmart. They would be non-union. You represent a union organization. Would you support the Walmart in the city of Chicago?
We're happy to have a Walmart. All that SEIU and Progress Illinois and other labor organizations in this state have asked for is for them to agree to certain basic living wage standards.
But that's something that the state legislature can't fix at the moment. So let's
No.
go on to what can happen with the state legislature. And as we wrap up here, do you see these this only new revenue proposal that's out there as significant or not?
We haven't analyzed the numbers in detail, but as I say, you know, we have to either bring more money in or take less money out, and we have to be very, very careful.
It sounds so simple when
I
you say
know.
that.
I know.
But there seems to be it seems to be pretty tough to put it into action.
But we have to be very careful because the politicians have a tendency, as they're fixing this, to make the problem worse. And they want to, you know, we're going to fix Medicaid or we're going to fix schools, but we need to do that by increasing the cost. And without figuring out a revenue stream to fund those. And that's what's happened with the pensions. They've promised them, and we don't have a revenue stream to fund them.
All right, well, we will be talking about this for many months to come, I'm sure. My many thanks to John Tillman, Sheila Weinberg, and Josh Kalven. Chicago Tonight continues in a moment, so stay with us.